Hi, I'm Bex, Business Development Specialist at Trusty Oak. I originally wrote this as a blog post, but I know how busy you are, and honestly, I thought you might enjoy hearing about our Notion journey while you're tackling your own to-do list. So grab a coffee or go for that walk you've been putting off, and let me share what we've learned about building systems that actually work. Here we go. Notion can do everything, which means it can also feel like it does nothing when you first open that blank page. Where do you even start? How do you structure it? What should live there versus in other tools? A few months ago, our CEO Zach shared how Trusty Oak eliminated over 50% of our manual work by overhauling the digital infrastructure. He touched on how we use Notion as our shared brain, but I knew it deserved a deeper dive. So I collaborated with Lauren Lee, our admin specialist and go-to Notion expert, to break down the foundational principles of how we use Notion, not as a step-by-step blueprint to copy, but as a framework you can adapt to your own business. Let me start with the core concept, connective tissue, not everything tissue. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Notion doesn't have to be where you do all your work. We still use Attio for our CRM, Trusty Timer for time tracking, and Google Sheets for data analysis, and that's the point. Notion is our connective tissue. Think of it as the map that shows you where everything lives and how to get there. It's where we keep all our company resources, guidance, and strategy. We use headers and icons so everyone can quickly spot what they're looking for. Bottom line, everyone knows exactly where to go to find what they need. It's our knowledge repository, our strategic hub, our content manager, and our team resource center. When someone on our team needs to know where do I find X or how do we do Y, the answer lives in Notion. But the actual work might happen in another tool that's better suited for that specific task. Now let me show you how we've structured our shared brain. We've organized our homepage into clear functional areas, working files for day-to-day essentials, data and reporting for metrics and client success, talent resources for our VA team, strategy for the big picture stuff, products and offerings for what we sell, and operations for how we run. Notice what the structure does. Anyone on our team can find what they need without asking. New team members can onboard themselves. Nothing critical lives in just one person's head. Imagine if every time someone on your team, or you, 6 months from now, needed to remember how to process a refund or where that client proposal template lives. The answer was just there. No Slack thread archaeology, no I think Sarah knows, no reinventing the wheel. Here's how we think about organizing this. Start by thinking of the company as a brain, breaking it down into areas of support. Then ask, what actions are performed most often and what resources do people reach for regularly? The things we use most often should be the easiest to access, like muscle memory. This helps translate our team's organic way of working into a visual structure that feels natural to navigate. Here's one of the biggest mistakes people make with Notion. They try to force everything into it, even when another tool does the job better. Notion is best for documentation, processes and SOPs, strategy and planning, content calendars, and linking resources that live elsewhere. Other tools are better for specific functions. Like I mentioned earlier, we use Attio for CRM, Trusty Timer for time tracking, Google Sheets for data analysis, and Google Drive for file storage. Here's a perfect example. For monthly reporting, we have SOPs in Notion that walk through each step with quick links to all the tools needed. Stripe for payment data, Attio for customer info, and the specific Google Sheets where everything gets compiled. Instead of hunting through bookmarks or Slack threads, it's all right there in one workflow. Notion doesn't replace our other tools, it connects them and makes them work together as a system. Now let me give you a real-world example. Our standard operating procedures. Like most growing businesses, Trusty Oak had a lot of tribal knowledge, processes that lived in people's heads or in old email threads or in that one Google Doc someone created 2 years ago. We've been working on getting our SOPs documented and organized in Notion as a living resource that the team actually uses. Here's why this works. Accessibility. When someone needs to know how do we do X, they go to one place. Consistency. Everyone follows the same documented process, easy to update. When a process changes, we update it in one place. And onboarding made simple. New team members can learn without requiring someone to walk them through every task. So, the biggest challenge? Well, realizing how much lives only in people's heads. Without documentation, forward process grinds to a halt the moment a key person is unavailable. We started with the processes that cause the most pain when someone's absent. Documented SOPs make work more efficient and consistent. They let people actually take time off without everything falling apart. And what about the difference it's made? Before, each team member stored their SOPs separately. Now we all have access to the same processes, formatted consistently, so anyone can jump in and follow them smoothly. That's when SOPs go from nice to have to actual operational infrastructure. You're not creating a static procedures manual, you're building a living knowledge base that evolves with your business. And here's where this all comes together for business owners who want to delegate effectively. When everything you need to run your business lives in your head, delegation becomes nearly impossible. You spend more time explaining and re-explaining than you would just doing it yourself. But when you have a system like this, a shared brain where knowledge lives and processes are documented, delegation becomes dramatically easier. Here's the transformation. Before having this system, our team was constantly digging through Google Drive folders trying to find the right document. Now, when someone's assigned a task, everything they need is right there. Documents, resources, tools, all linked in one place. They're not spending time searching, they're just executing. That's huge for delegation because leaders can hand off work confidently. When we bring on a new VA at Trusty Oak, they don't need 17 different logins, don't need to interrupt the team constantly, don't need someone to explain every process, and you don't need to be available 24/7. Because our talent onboarding resources are in Notion, the processes are documented, the how we do things is accessible. This means faster onboarding, consistent execution, real flexibility when someone is out, and less fragility. Knowledge doesn't walk out the door when someone leaves. Here's a real example. When our client success manager, Corey, and our admin specialists were out of the office for a day, I was able to step in and process a client's request to renew early. I confirmed the protocol in our SOPs, executed the steps, and our client's VA stayed on track. That's the difference between having instructions and having a system. One keeps you stuck waiting, the other keeps business moving. If you're feeling inspired but overwhelmed, here's what I want you to remember. Start small, start simple, and start with one thing. Pick one pain point. Do you explain the same process repeatedly? Or document it? Is client information scattered? Create a simple resource page. Constantly hunting for files? Build a resource library. Content planning is chaotic? Set up a basic calendar. Here's our advice for someone starting at a blank Notion page. Start by building out the skeleton of your business. What are the bare bones that make your company stand up? Those become your main sections. And don't forget the heart, your mission or guiding principles. You don't have to fill in all the details yet. You're just building the structure, the framework. And what not to do? Don't try to document everything perfectly before launching. Don't get stuck building elaborate databases, and don't aim for a finished product. Aim for a useful starting point. And what is our recommendation? Start with a homepage with your main business sections, your guiding principles at the top, and maybe 2 to 3 of your most critical SOPs documented. That's it. You can build from there as you go. Also, templates are your friend. They give you a starting point without the blank page overwhelm. Also, VAs can be incredibly helpful when getting started. They can set up that initial framework, build out templates tailored to your workflow, and handle the setup while you focus on strategy. You're building your shared brain, structured in a way that makes sense for how you work. So how do you actually get started? Well, you have 2 options. Path 1 is DIY. Start with one system, get comfortable, learn what works for your brain and your business. The beauty of Notion is that it grows with you. Or path 2 is to let us help. At Trusty Oak, building systems is what we do, not just executing tasks, but creating infrastructure that makes your business run smoother. Our VAs can help you identify what needs to be systematized first, build your Notion workspace structure, document your processes, create templates, and train your team. You get a system that works without the learning curve. You get someone organized, analytical, and thoughtful about structure, making sure your knowledge doesn't stay trapped in your head. If you're ready to build systems that actually work, you can book a free consultation to talk about your challenges and how Trusty Oak can help. So Zach's post was about eliminating busy work to focus on what actually matters. This is how we do it, by building systems that let us find what we need, delegate with confidence, and scale without breaking. For you, it might mean finally having the breathing room to work on your business instead of constantly drowning in it. Your business doesn't have to live in your head. Your team doesn't have to interrupt you every 5 minutes. Your knowledge doesn't have to disappear when someone leaves. Notion can be your connective tissue, the map that helps everyone navigate with confidence and clarity. You don't have to build it alone. Let's talk about what's currently eating up your time and energy and how we can help you create systems that actually support the business you're building. Because you didn't start your business to spend all day answering "where's that file?" questions, you started it to make an impact. Let's get you back to that. Thanks so much for listening. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. You can find me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or head to our website to book a conversation about how Trusty Oak can help you build systems like these. And if you know another entrepreneur who's drowning in their own business and could use this, please share it with them. All right, back to building that business of yours. I'm cheering for you.